percent. The word percent means per 100, and well, the symbol for percent is the symbol I've just circled. So per 100 means if you take a number like 1% and you divide that by 100, you end up with the decimal form of percent, which is 0.01. Same with 5% and 50%. If you take 50%, divide that 50 by 100, you end up with the decimal form of the percentage, 0.5. So converting percents to decimals. Well, there's a rule that you need to remember when you're doing this, and that rule is that when you move from percent to a decimal, you divide by 100. So the rule is divide by 100 when you're moving percent to decimal. So, in other words, 25% becomes 25 over 100, which is equal to 0.25. 10% becomes 10 over 100, which is equal to 0.10. 150% is 150 over 100, which is 1.50. 0.4% is 0.4 over 100, which is equal to 0.004. And 75% is 75 over 100, which is equal to 0.75. Converting decimals to percents, well, again, there's a rule. The rule is that to go from a decimal to a percent, you multiply by 100. So multiply the decimal by 100. Like this. So if you have 0.05, here's what you have. 0.05 times 100. That's equal to 5%. If you have 0.5, 0.50 times 100, that's equal to 50%. 3.75 times 100. Oh, what would that be? 3.75 times 100 equals 375%. Finally, 0.0001 times 100, or not really finally, but let's just take a look at 0.0001 times 100. Converting that decimal to a percentage, you end up with it being equal to 0.01%. 0.385 times 100 would be equal to 38.5%. Sign there. Converting a fraction to a percent, example 7. Well, we have some fractions, 4/5, 3/4, 11/25, etc. What I'm going to do is I'm going to convert these fractions so that their denominators are actually 100. So to start with, 4/5. 4/5, the denominator is a 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the bottom by 20. If I multiply 5 by 20, it'll be equal to 100. But I can't just do that to the bottom. I've also got to do it to the top. So now, what I'm going to have is I'm going to have 5 times 20 in the bottom, 4 times 20 up top. So that's equal to 80 over 100. Well, what does that work out to? That's equal to 0.80. Well, now that's the decimal form of percent. So in order to convert this to a percentage, I multiply it by 100. 0.8 times 100 is 80%. Well, I'm going to do the same thing for the remainder of these. So for B in example 7, 3/4, in order to make the denominator 100, multiply 25 times 4. But if I do that to the bottom, I've got to do that to the top. So 3 times 25 is 75. So 3/4 is the same, or it's equivalent to 75 100ths, which is 0.75. So now you have the decimal form of the percent multiplied by 100, 75%. Same for 11/25ths, except now you're multiplying the top and bottom by 4. So you get the decimal form of the fraction. 11/25ths is the same as 0.44, or multiplying by 100, 44%. 13/10, multiply the denominator by 10, gives you 100 in the bottom. You have then 130 in top. So the decimal form of the fraction 13/10ths is 1.30, or 130%. Now the fraction 2/3, well, I could convert that fairly laboriously to an exact decimal form. But can I? Oh, but wait a minute. 2/3, that's one of these decimals that goes on forever, 0.66666666. Just use a calculator. Go 2 divided by 3, you get the decimal form. Multiply it by 100, you get 66.67%. Say, again, it depends on what instructions are given to you. How many decimal places are you expected to report that to? 2/3 could be 66.7% or 66.6667%, again, depending on what the instructions are in the particular question you're dealing with. In fact, you can take any of these fractions and just use a calculator and divide the numerator by the denominator, and you'll get the equivalent decimal to that fraction, and then multiply that by 100% to get the percentage equivalent.